Elia's ward had learned very quickly that water decided who lived and who died on the planet Carthys 9. The sun here was larger than Earth's, whiter and crueler. It burned the land into endless waves of red stone and cracked sand. Wind carved the ground into sharp shapes, and dust storms could strip paint from metal in hours. Most humans stayed near the main colony domes, where shields and machines kept them safe. Elias did not. He lived alone in a small cabin built near a canyon edge, far from the colony. His job was simple but dangerous: survey underground water lines and mark safe locations for future human settlements. He trusted machines, planning, and patience more than walls and guns. His cabin was made of reinforced alloy, half buried in stone to keep it cool. Solar panels covered the roof. A water recycler hummed softly day and night, turning waste into clean drinking water. Elias checked it every morning and every night, because if it failed, he would have only 2 days to live. That evening, the sky turned dark orange as the sun lowered. Elias finished logging soil data and stepped outside to inspect the recycler pipes. The air was hot, dry, and silent, too silent. Then he heard it. A faint sound, not wind, not metal, breathing. Elias froze. Slowly he turned toward the sound. Near the rocks behind his water unit, something lay half-covered in dust. At first he thought it was debris. Then it moved. He grabbed his scanner and approached carefully. It was an alien, a female by body shape, tall even lying down. Her skin was a deep bronze color, cracked and dry like old stone. Thin ridges ran along her arms and neck, markings Elias recognized from files. She was Karai. His heart dropped. The Karai were one of the native species of Carthys 9, tribal, warrior-based, highly territorial. Human settlers avoided them whenever possible. Encounters often ended badly. She wore damaged armor made of bone and metal. Her weapons were gone. Her breathing was shallow and uneven. Her lips, if they could be called that, were cracked. Her eyes were half open but unfocused. She was dying. Elias stood there, the scanner shaking slightly in his hand. Protocol was clear. Do not interfere. Report the location. Withdraw. Let the Planetary Council handle native matters. And another rule, unspoken but known to everyone: never give water to a Karai. Water was power on this world. Tribes fought wars over it. Giving water could be seen as weakness or worse, as a binding act. Elias looked at the water recycler, then at the alien woman. She tried to lift her arm. It fell back uselessly. A sound escaped her throat, rough and dry. A plea. Elias sighed slowly. "Damn it," he whispered. He knelt beside her. The heat coming off her body was intense. Dehydration levels were critical. If he waited even an hour, she would not survive. He carried her inside. It took effort. She was heavier than she looked, all muscle and dense bone. He laid her on the floor near the cooling vent and sealed the cabin door. The scanner confirmed it: severe dehydration, internal injuries, but no immediate infection. Elias filled a small metal cup with water. Pure, filtered, life-saving water. He hesitated for only a second. Then he tilted the cup to her mouth and let a few drops fall between her lips. Her reaction was instant. Her eyes snapped open. Her hand shot up weakly, gripping his wrist. Her fingers were rough, strong even in weakness. Water touched her tongue. She made a low sound, something between pain and relief, and swallowed. Elias spoke calmly, slowly. "Easy, don't choke. I'm not here to hurt you." He gave her water in tiny amounts, waiting each time. After several minutes, her grip loosened. Her breathing steadied. Color returned slowly to her skin. She stared at him. Her eyes were dark gold, sharp even now. Confusion filled them, fear, and something else Elias did not recognize. She tried to speak. Her voice was broken, dry. "Why human?" Elias shrugged lightly. "Because you needed it." That seemed to confuse her even more. He treated her wounds next. Basic care, cleaning cuts, sealing cracks in her armor enough to protect her skin. He did not restrain her. He did not point a weapon at her. When he finished, he stepped back. "You can rest," he said. "When you're strong enough, you can leave." She studied him in silence. "You know what I am," she said. "I do. You know what my people do." "I do. And still you give water." "Yes," that was all he said. Night fell quickly on Carthys 9. The cabin lights dimmed automatically. Outside, the desert cooled, but danger never slept. The alien woman closed her eyes. Elias did not sleep. He sat in a chair, a tool in his hand, watching her breathing. He knew what he had done might get him killed. If she survived, she could signal her tribe. Warriors might come, hundreds of them. Still, he did not regret it. Just before dawn, she stirred. She sat up slowly, strength returning faster than expected. She looked around the cabin, memorizing every detail. Then she stood. Elias stood too, keeping his hands visible. "My name is Sarakai," she said, "scout of the Red Dune clan. I'm Elias." She nodded once. She walked to the door, then stopped, turned back. "In our law," she said carefully, "water given freely is not forgotten." Elias frowned slightly. "I didn't do it for law." "That does not matter," she replied. She looked at the water recycler, at the containers stacked neatly along the wall. Then she bowed, not deeply. Not fully, but enough. When the sun rose, she was gone. Elias stood outside his cabin watching the desert. No tracks, no dust clouds, just wind. He released a breath he did not realize he was holding. "Guess that's that," he muttered. He went back inside and began his morning routine. Checking power levels, cleaning filters, logging data. He almost missed the signal, a low vibration under his feet. At first he thought it was a minor quake. Then it came again. And again. Rhythmic. Drums. Elias stepped outside. Far across the dunes, shapes moved. Many shapes. Tall figures, silhouettes against the rising sun. Banners lifted into the air, colors bright against the red sand. His blood ran cold. By the time full daylight arrived, they were already there. His cabin was surrounded. Nearly 200 Kari warrior women, armed and armored, stood in a wide circle around his home. Spears, blades, energy weapons, all aimed downward but ready. Their faces were painted with tribal markings. Their posture was disciplined, controlled, deadly. At the front stood Sarakai. She stepped forward and knelt. Every warrior behind her froze. Elias stepped out slowly, heart pounding, but his face calm. The desert held its breath. And the fate of one human now rested on a single act of kindness given the night before. The moment Sarakai knelt, the desert seemed to stop breathing. 200 Kari warrior women stood behind her in perfect silence. No one raised a weapon. No one spoke. Their eyes stayed on Elias Ward, the lone human standing outside his small cabin with nothing but dust and sun around him. Elias did not move. Every instinct told him to step back, to retreat into the cabin, to reach for the emergency beacon. But something in Sarakai's posture stopped him. This was not surrender, it was ritual. Slowly, Elias placed both hands at his sides, palms open, a human sign of peace. He did not bow, he did not kneel, he stood as he always did, straight, calm, and honest. Sarakai raised her head. "Life friend," she said loudly, her voice carrying across the sand. The word echoed. A murmur passed through the warriors. Some shifted their feet, some tightened their grip on weapons, others stared in disbelief. Elias swallowed. He had no idea what the word meant, but it sounded important. "I am Elias," he said. "I don't know your laws, I don't know your rights. I helped someone who was dying, that's all." Sarakai stood. "You gave water," she replied, "without demand, without threat. Without bond claimed." She turned and faced her warriors. "This human gave what our people kill for." The murmuring grew louder. A tall warrior stepped forward from the circle. Her armor was darker, heavier. Scars crossed her face and neck. Her eyes were sharp with distrust. "This is weakness," she said. "He is small, soft. He lives alone because his own kind does not trust him." Elias met her gaze. "I live alone because I don't like crowds," he said evenly. A few warriors clicked their teeth in what might have been amusement. The scarred warrior frowned. "You mock us." "No," Elias replied. "I speak plainly." Sarakai raised her hand, silencing the others. "Our law is clear," she said. "The right of life-giving binds the giver to the tribe. His life becomes protected. His death becomes forbidden." The scarred warrior turned sharply. "He is human," Sarakai nodded, "and still alive because of him." Silence fell again. Elias finally spoke. "If you're here to kill me, do it, but don't pretend this is about honor if you ignore your own rules." The air grew tense. Several weapons lifted slightly. Then another sound reached them, a distant hum. Elias recognized it instantly. Engines. He turned his head toward the horizon. Thin lines of dust rose far away, moving fast. Sarakai's eyes narrowed. "Raiders," she said, "not Kari, not human. Off-world scavengers, armed groups that preyed on weak settlements, stealing water, tech, and people." The scarred warrior cursed. "They smell water," she said, "and human machines." Elias looked back at his cabin, at the recycler, at the solar panels. "They'll find this place," he said. "Soon." Sarakai studied him. "You will hide," she ordered. "This is not your fight." Elias shook his head. "It is now." The warriors reacted instantly. Confusion, anger, shock. "You dare," someone began. "I know this land," Elias continued. "I mapped it. I know where the ground collapses, where the stone is weak, where the wind hides sound. If you fight them head-on, you'll lose warriors." The scarred warrior scoffed. You think to command us? No, Elias said. I think to help. Sarakai searched his face. Why? She asked quietly. Elias answered without hesitation. Because if they take this place, they'll hunt you next, and because I won't let people die when I can stop it. That word again. People, not allies, not warriors, people. Sarakai made a decision. Listen to him, she said. The scarred warrior stared at her, then looked away sharply. Speak, she said to Elias. Quickly. Elias moved. He pointed toward the canyon edge. There, soft ground. If we draw them in, their vehicles will sink. He gestured to the rocks behind the cabin. Those stones are unstable. One charge will collapse the path. And water? Sarakai asked. Elias smiled grimly. I'll handle that. The Karai moved fast, faster than Elias expected. Warriors spread out, taking positions, setting traps with silent efficiency. Elias ran back into his cabin and rerouted power. He opened emergency valves, flooding underground channels he had mapped months ago. Water flowed beneath the sand. By the time the raiders arrived, the sun was high. Their vehicles came fast and loud, weapons mounted, confidence clear. They did not expect resistance. They never did. The first vehicle hit the soft ground and vanished halfway into the sand. The second swerved, straight into a rockfall triggered by a single human explosive charge. Chaos erupted. Karai warriors struck from the sides, disciplined and fierce. Elias stayed near the cabin, using sensors and drones to guide them, shouting warnings, pointing out flanking paths. A blast rocked the ground near him. He stumbled, falling hard. Pain shot through his leg. A shadow fell over him. The scarred warrior stood there, weapon raised. For one terrible second, Elias thought she would finish him. Instead, she fired past him, dropping a raider who had been lining up a shot. She grabbed Elias and pulled him behind cover. Do not die, she growled. It would cause problems. Elias laughed despite the pain. The fight ended as quickly as it began. The raiders fled, leaving wreckage and bodies behind. The desert grew quiet once more. Karai warriors tended their wounded. Elias used his med supplies without hesitation, treating anyone who came to him. No one stopped him. As the sun began to lower, Sarakai approached. You bled for us, she said. So did you, Elias replied. She looked around the cabin, the battlefield, the warriors. The rite is fulfilled, she said, and surpassed. She knelt again. This time every warrior followed. 200 figures bowed to one human. Elias stood there, stunned, as the desert wind carried the moment into history. And far away, other tribes were already hearing the drums. The desert did not forget. After the battle, the sand slowly swallowed the broken machines of the raiders. Wind erased footprints. Blood dried and turned dark, then vanished beneath drifting dust. But the story of what happened near the small human cabin began to move faster than the wind itself. By nightfall, distant drum signals rolled across the dunes. One rhythm answered another, then another. Old patterns used only in times of great meaning. Elias Ward sat outside his cabin, his injured leg wrapped tightly. The pain was dull but constant. He ignored it and focused on repairing a damaged sensor pole. Machines were easier to understand than what had happened that day. 200 Karai warrior women remained around the cabin, not in a circle of threat anymore, but in a wide, respectful boundary. Fires burned low. Guards watched the horizon. No one entered the cabin without permission. Sarakai stood nearby, watching the stars rise. You should rest, she said. I will, Elias replied, tightening a bolt. After this. She tilted her head slightly, studying him. You act as if nothing has changed, she said. Elias paused and looked up at the sky. For me, the sun still rises, water still matters, people still get hurt. That is not nothing, Sarakai said quietly. Later that night, the elders arrived. They came on foot slowly, with purpose. Older Karai women, their armor worn smooth by time, their weapons ceremonial but real. Their presence silenced the camp completely. Elias stood when they approached. One elder stepped forward. Her voice was deep, steady. You are the human called Elias Ward. Yes, he said. You gave water to a dying scout, she continued. You sheltered her, you asked for nothing. Yes, you stood against raiders not of your blood. Yes, you shared your water again even when danger remained. Elias nodded. People needed help. The elder watched him closely. For generations, she said, we believed strength meant taking, guarding, killing for survival. Today you showed another strength. She raised a carved staff and struck it once into the sand. The rite of life-giving is complete, she declared. The human is bound to the Karai. A low sound moved through the warriors, approval. Elias opened his mouth to speak, then stopped. He chose his words carefully. "I didn't do this to belong," he said. "I did it because it was right." The elder smiled, a rare thing. "Then you belong more than you know." At dawn, the decision spread. No Kari weapon would ever be raised against Elia's ward. His cabin would be protected ground. Any who threatened him would answer to the full strength of the tribes, but the elders did not stop there. "You will not remain alone," Sarakai said as they walked with Elias toward the canyon edge. "I prefer alone," Elias replied honestly. She made a soft, clicking sound that might have been laughter. "Not anymore," she said. Days passed. Human ships arrived after receiving delayed signals. They expected ruins. Instead, they found Kari warriors standing guard around a living human surveyor. Confusion followed. Fear, then careful talks. Elias became the bridge. He spoke simply, calmly. He explained water systems, land limits, shared survival. He did not promise domination. He did not demand control. He offered cooperation. The Kari listened because they had seen his actions. The humans listened because they trusted his judgment. Small changes began. Shared water stations built near neutral ground. Patrol routes agreed upon. Raider activity dropped sharply once word spread that the desert itself fought back now. Elias' cabin changed too. It grew. Not in size, but in meaning. Kari warriors came with questions, with injuries, with curiosity. Elias taught them how human machines worked. They taught him how to read the wind, the sand, the silent signs of approaching danger. Sarakai stayed. She did not guard him. She walked beside him. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky red, Elias stood near the recycler, watching clean water flow into storage tanks. "It's still strange," he said. "All this from a cup of water." Sarakai looked at the horizon. "To us, water is life." "You gave life without fear." Elias nodded slowly. "Where I come from, that's just being human." She turned to him, her expression thoughtful. "Then humanity is stronger than any weapon," she said. Far away, drums sounded again, not of war, of unity. And on Carthage 9, under a burning sun and endless sky, the story spread from tribe to tribe, from world to world. That once, a human gave water to a thirsty alien. And by dawn, the galaxy changed its mind about what strength truly was.